Hi, Dave. With me is Dave Fink. He's the founder CEO of Postie. They have data-driven direct mail. Is that a good enough description? Sell into mid-market retail and enterprise retail. I'll let you describe it.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, that was fine. Our elevator pitch would be a little longer.
Right.
So before you come and work for us, we'll need to
Right.
work on tightening up the touch points. But yeah, we're a technology platform that gives marketers the tools to manage direct mail like they would any other digital channel. So think about us as the trade desk of direct mail, the
Rock and roll.
ad manager of direct mail.
Yeah. And then you were also partner investor in Science, which Dollar Shave Club, FameBit, Hello Society, Dog Vacay, Playhaven, MeUndies, blah, 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 on and on. So Dave and I wake surf together. We got connected by Shelby over at Silversmith because they love these data businesses. And at lunch, Dave's talking to me. Well, we're doing a rebrand right now. So all these stories came back into my head, right? So Dave was talking to me about like these legend, like founder brand guys. And it's just like the Dollar Shave Club one, right? Like you saw that video and like, you're like, oh, that's a great video. It was one of the first viral, of that type or whatever. And like, I don't think I had an appreciation for like how much of like an amazing guy this guy was. So like, can you just like start with some of the stories about this like experience with Dollar Shave Club? Like, first of all, like, how did you get hooked up with them? And then like, what was the journey from like watching all that play out?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that all happened in roughly 4 years, give or take a few weeks.
Yeah.
It was the big screen movie version of what everyone fantasizes a startup is all about, where things just work. That doesn't mean it wasn't hard work and there weren't, potholes and speed bumps along the way. But yeah, to go from a crazy idea to launch to a $1 billion exit by one of the biggest holding companies in the history of the world in 4 years, that just doesn't happen, right?
Unbelievable.
And it really is, and I certainly changed my perspective on lots of things, ranging from the potential of scale, how to what it means to actually build a quality business and be a good marketer holistically, that I definitively didn't have before that experience. So yeah, to rewind a little bit, I spent the first 10, 12, 15 years of my career in marketing on the quantitative side of things and direct response and geeking out over data-driven approaches to testing and optimizing. And I still believe in that. And that is an incredibly important part of what we all do. But I think I was drinking the Kool-Aid a little much, just fixating on all of the micro optimizations that go with landing page optimization and button colors and email subject lines. Do you capitalize all 4 letters in free? Do you put an exclamation point? Do you do a data append with first name in the opening of your communications? Like all those things. The number of words on a page, right? The width of a column, like
Right.
all of those. The color eyes of a model on a
Right.
hero image. And I still love that stuff, right? I love being able to not have to be right. It's kind of like being a weatherman. Like you come up with a prediction and you're only expected to be right half the time. And as long as you have a way to substantiate when you were right and when you were wrong, like that's your job. Dollar Shave Club changed my perspective because that was the first time that I had a front row seat to watching the launch of a brand and the power of telling a cohesive story and striking an emotional chord in a market that made everything else easier. So all of the quantitative marketing components still were very real in the lifespan of Dollar Shave Club, but the incremental gains and the sophistication that they were able to unlock was at such a high level because they did such a good job telling this challenger brand story that it was just it all of a sudden opened my eyes to the impact that brand and storytelling has in the success of building something that has staying power and scale that just a focus on direct response tactics can't do.
Right. So what you learned was you were spending, I mean, not even you in particular. It's just like the previous worldview was like, 95% of your brain went to these like optimizations. And it's like, wait, if we actually just told the right people this like hook that would infect them, like it's going to make this work 5 times as better, 5 times as well. Right. Like,
yeah,
like it will eat up all of the Facebook spend that everyone else is trying to get because people will just gravitate to it virally.
Yeah, and I don't want it to be as blunt as this because, as it may sound, because I do believe in quantitative tremendously, but it's kind of the difference between getting consumers to care about your product and service and recognizing, emotionally the value it'll add to them and to their experience in their life versus leveraging a bunch of tactics to get them to, without thinking about things, just buy enough times. And I was going to use the term trick, but it's not even tricking. It's just
sending a better email.
Yeah, sending a better email versus sending the best email to a person who already cares and feels the pain point that you're trying to solve and is already thinking about, switching or converting.
Right.
And look, I think the unique time and place that Dollar Shave Club was in was everybody knows what YouTube is right now, and everybody knows what Facebook is right now. These are these ubiquitous things. I mean, we've gone beyond YouTube to now, like, to Instagram
TikTok,
Reels and TikTok, but video is a thing, and storytelling through video is a thing. And when Dollar Shave Club came on the scene, it was the first viral video.
Yeah.
YouTube didn't even have algorithms at that time, if I remember correctly, or it was like first page, front page was based on like, someone some editor at YouTube deciding what should be on the front page of YouTube, and so there was much less noise. They created that genre, that playful, speaking directly to the consumer, championing their cause, voice. And at the same time that YouTube was becoming YouTube and they were able to capture so much market share, so much distribution on YouTube, Facebook was just becoming Facebook. So, lookalikes rolled out the same year that Facebook, came on the scene. And so, having this blend of savvy quantitative marketers that came from kind of the search world and this just really funny, clever, passionate, creative founder that had this vision for how you go up against, the biggest, most dominant CPG, brand in the world. The zeitgeist just was there to accelerate, Mike Dubin and Dollar Shave Club's ability to tell that story on a big stage very fast. And to put it in perspective, like, that video went live that night. The site crashed. We missed out on like hundreds of thousands of transactions.
Right.
It was all hands on deck. I think good fortune for Mike. He chose to build and launch Dollar Shave Club with science as an incubator. So we were able to pull in a whole bunch of tier 1 engineers from other projects and businesses. Worked all night. Had to figure out how to a blend of outsourcing and staffing up just customer service to be able to not lose out on this tidal wave of interest. There's a lot of forgiveness because, again, they weren't running tactics. They were telling an interesting story that just captured the heart of America. And, within a year, Mike was being called by every, major media publication as the face of viral videos. He was being called to do lectures at every major university in the United States, let alone, in foreign countries. He nailed it. And then we at Science, which was this tech studio incubator, I was getting called, once a week from founders saying, "Hey, can you just help me do a viral video like Dollar Shave?"
Right. Like,
and I wish I was
that's
like,
not
oh,
what we
sure.
do.
Let me,
It's
let
like
me
we're
tell
not
you
Mr. Beast. Like,
yeah, I mean, seriously. But even Mr. Beast is able to do it because he has distribution. Like they just
Right.
thought there was like some formula for, just film a 100 or 10-second video, and next thing you know,
Right.
we'll be generating
Yeah.
tens of, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue. And it wasn't that. It was dollar shaped, but it was an authentic brand story that just
Right.
happened to come along at a time that they got disproportionate distribution through some really rapidly growing media channels.
What about the guy? Is he just like next level? Or
Yeah,
like, was he a
he's
brand
look,
guy?
Yeah,
Or did he-
I mean, Dubin was. Yeah, there are crazy stories that I won't share in the air. That like when my partner at the time, Peter, Fan was taking him up and down Sand Hill Road, helping him raise rounds of funding, and just the stories that they would have of just Mike's brilliant humor entertaining him through really stressful situations. Anybody who's fundraised knows, like, no matter how good of a business you are, it's a painful, stressful process. And Mike is he's a brilliant storyteller. He's charming. He's fun to be around. He's clever, and that translated through the way that through the DNA of that company. But he scripted that video. He leveraged a friend who had some equipment to film that video. He starred in that video, and then every major piece of content that came through the DSC marketing team, he had his fingerprint on.
Right.
He didn't like move off and just focus on finance and
Right.
leadership and management. He owned the brand through and through.
Right.
And he did it for many years at Unilever after the acquisition.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I love that. It's like so cool. So it was like day one. Did it even take a breather? It was just up and to the right, like the whole time.
Gone. Yeah. And it was up and to the right. That doesn't mean that, that the normal challenges that every business goes through, supply chain and logistics management and additional around, fundraising and P&L management and hiring and personnel and, team structures as they went from 10 people to 50 to 200 to 500. All those things were real. Manufacturing challenges with, partners in a very, small industry where there aren't 100, razor blade manufacturers.
Right.
There were, there's some things I haven't thought about in a decade. It's kind of crazy, but it was a whirlwind. And but with that being said, like none of it mattered because they had a quality product and a brand that everybody wanted to be a part of, and they were telling a story that was very authentic to them that they really believed in, and that means like all the problems that most moral companies have to deal with that maybe inflict more pain along the way. Just it was like they were able to work through it.
So like, how long does an accelerator stay involved in a company like that? Like what time frame were you, like, from pre-video, and like when were you guys? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so science was a little bit different of a beast. We came in the scene 2010, 2011, something like that, when accelerators and incubators were like the rage. That was the new hot business model, and there was it was more common to have these like traditional accelerators where the accelerator would give you 100 grand, maybe take 5-6% ownership in your business, put you through more of like a structured class for like, almost like a boot camp for 3 months or 6 months, and then kind of kick you out, or do like a pitch day and try and help you raise your legitimate seed round. And then science went deeper. We loved being involved operationally. And so, we really saw ourselves as being, co-founders in the businesses we partnered up with. So we got involved very, very early stage. I'll come back to specifics of DSC in a minute here. We provided oftentimes more capital, but more resources. So things like, design and engineering resources, technology that we had built to help, platform e-commerce or marketplace or, influencer marketing platforms there were a lot of hands of some of the brightest people in kind of the LA consumer technology scene that were on our team. Financial help and certainly fundraising, hands-on, not just here's your pitch day, we'll bring a bunch of investors in, but like let's work with you on your story, your pitch deck, let's work on your presentation, let's go set up meetings for you, with the right set of investors, and help you evaluate deals, let's help you figure out how to create some competition. All that happened, and so companies typically stayed with us for longer, usually in some cases several years. In Dollar Shave Club's case, I believe it was about 2 years. And one of the things I love about this is I think I touched 75 startups during the 6 years I was a founding partner at Science. And one of the core differentiators between the businesses that were truly successful and those that didn't really get there were that the ones that were successful, it was almost hardest to push out of the nest. And part of the reason is that they're confident and they're smart founders. They're like, we're getting a lot of value here. Why would we leave? Or we're getting free rent even.
Right.
Why would we go take on rent?
Yeah. Oh, stupid. So you're saying the most successful ones you kind of ended up hanging on to the longest.
We had to at one point we looked at Dubin and Adam Weber and Kevin Datu, and we're like, guys, there's no room for us in the building anymore. We're ready to go. Get your own space. And they're like, okay, that makes sense. Right. But they took advantage of every opportunity, every resource available to them. And then there are the companies where it's they I hate to say it, but many of them, it was more about first time founders playing the role of founder as though they were. Right.
I mean, you just see
and they're like, I just want to raise my money and get my fancy office and put our signage on the side of the building. And those companies more times than not didn't do so well.
Right. Yeah. Do you believe in sort of I was talking to Henrik Wildemer, who is a co-founder of BarkBox, and he also has this accelerator called Pre-Hype, and they have 40, 50, I don't know, probably in close to 100 portfolio companies. And I was just having a catch up with him 5 years ago or something like that. And he's like, man, almost without exception, all of the businesses we have built that have started like this have stayed like this. And if they start like this, they kind of stay like this. Do you have a view on that, having seen so many startups?
I think there could be some natural selection or natural bias in how the businesses are created. I don't think there's a definitive, if something doesn't take off like a rocket ship, it's doomed and you shut it down, put a bullet in it, and move on. I think there are plenty of businesses out there that it took a while for them to figure things out. They went at their own pace. Maybe it was challenging to raise funding. Maybe they just didn't get product market fit perfectly, but they were close. Kind
of on their way,
They were, and then there certainly there are probably more businesses that I think that took off like this that hit a plateau. And because maybe they captured one demand gen channel or one tactic for growth, but it wasn't necessarily purely organic, or the TAM was not as big as they thought it was, or the markets moved so quickly. So I've seen that a lot. I think within ensemble environments, whether it's an incubator, studio, or whatnot, the way that it should work, and this is one of the challenges with the model, and that it took me a while to learn, but if your product is incubation and you're out there promising prospect founders that this is the most direct path, that this is a way to de-risk, we're going to help get you there, and you onboard 10 businesses, and then one of them shows explosive growth and a ton of potential, and you own the same percentage of each of those businesses, doesn't it just make sense in order to maximize return capital that you would put as a disproportionate amount of attention on the business that's working?
Right.
But what ends up happening is that if you do that, then you're kind of abandoning those that aren't working, and that wasn't really a fair trade. And oftentimes what happens is we're all arrogant, and so we're like, oh, we could help fix each of these businesses, and so you spend all this time working on the most challenged businesses, and that's not how venture works, right? In venture, it's we're going to make a lot of bets, and then we're going to spend all of our time and double down on those that are showing potential. Yeah. And that's the game. Incubation is different. And what that sets up is, I think, a situation where the businesses that start out like that in an incubator or an accelerator that has some discipline, all the good resources, go into those rocket ships. And so there's like self-perpetuated momentum, because now you have the smartest minds in the building, more resources, more attention, more mind share put into the businesses that are working, and the ones that aren't working get ignored. And maybe some of them could have been perfectly fine businesses, or maybe would have hit a tipping point. So I think, I don't know if there's like a definitive one size fits all to that question, but I certainly think there's some like self-fulfilling prophecies in this world where you're trying to spin up a bunch of business at the same time, not expecting all of them to be successful.
Right. And like, is this a game that people get rich doing? Like,
I haven't
like,
seen
the over the breadth of accelerators, is it like something you would describe as people enter it and they leave it with lower expectations than they came in with?
I think that you see kind of two types of founding groups, and then one is the founder who made $100, $200, $500 million, is motivated, isn't really motivated to get back into the daily grind of operating a business, but wants to be involved intellectually in startups. And when you're an investor, you invest, and unless you're starting your own investment firm, you're kind of writing checks to firms as LPs, and then you're so far removed. Even when you're investing out of your own balance sheet, you're still not running the business. Like, founders don't want you meddling. Like, at best, they want you showing up, when they need something. At worst, at a board meeting.
It's like they don't want to send updates. Like,
And so I think you have this group of people who were successful, and they want to tinker and be involved. And then you have people who I have not been successful yet. Maybe they're nervous, or they don't know how to run their own startup. They like the idea of being an investor, but they're more operational, and so they put together a group of people and they try and run a startup studio or whatnot. I think the most successful ones are those like I think it was Atomic up in the Bay Area, where they kind of all came together, experienced guys, started this kind of portfolio type incubator startup studio. And then if I'm getting my startups right, the first success was Hims out of Atomic, I believe.
And Dr. Squash,
and that
too,
one was like a runaway.
No, maybe it wasn't Dr. Squash. I don't remember.
What was it?
But yeah, I thought maybe Dr. Squash was out of there. I don't remember though. But it was Hims for sure. And then like they had a couple software businesses, because like I met this guy JP who's in Austin who just moved here, who was the Next Door guy. It was like a tech platform where they were just buying your house like with a click of a button.
Open Door.
He spent Open Door, and he spent 2 years at Atomic. Like he was like running 3 of their software things. He said, I eavesdropped a conversation because like everybody, it's such a mysterious thing, like what was going on? He's like, Garrett's amazing. Like it was even better, even better than you think, kind of thing. Like,
that's awesome. Yeah, look, smart people do smart things more times than not. But I think even in that world, like for at least a while, like all the sharpest minds jumped into Hims because it was working. It was working at an extreme level. And there were probably other projects that stalled and maybe didn't have to stall. But that's the challenge, I think, of you have to have discipline if you're going to run a portfolio. There's only so much time in a day. And so from what I understand, I'm an outsider in that firm for sure, but I think they probably got it right where they put their attention into what was working, maximize the return on value there, and then maybe jump back into the next one or the next few. That's.
And do you like, for you, is building one company better than like this portfolio sort of approach or whatever?
They both have their merits. I'm certainly creating more value in an asset.
Right.
I miss the frenetic nature of being involved in so many different things all the time and constantly staying on what's new and fresh. That was a really special time and place in my career. I miss being able to be a daily mentor and coach to lots of people and feel like I'm making an impact in the life of founders. I do that every day now with my my team, my operational team here, and that's probably where I get the most value these days.
Do you still have like 20? Do you still have 21 direct? Do you still have 21 direct reports like the last time we talked?
I have fewer, but still way too many. We're working on it. I think I'm at our VP of marketing took over the SDR team, which was a big help, and they're an awesome team. I actually really enjoyed the one-on-one time I got with that crew, but I just couldn't handle it anymore. So that took about 6-7 reports off my plate. So we're in the teens somewhere. Hence the bags under my eyes.
Yeah, right. I mean, I just like I'm trying like so we just had a VP layer start 2 weeks ago, and like before that it was just like there's something about like the human experience where right before something good happens, it's literally the worst because like it's ending, But like it was like the pressure, it was like I was gonna explode. But I'm trying to figure out how for the first time it's like, okay, do I absolutely need to be on this call? If not, can someone just please figure out a way to inform me of like what happened?
Yeah, and I'll tell you the other one that I'm not great at. By the way, I see UPS. There's a chance that my dogs go nuts here for
okay.
a minute.
We're okay with it.
So the other skill that I'm getting better at is just being possessive of my time, not even just showing up for meetings, but I used to be late to everything. I'm still not great about it, but because I felt bad about shutting down a conversation if we were out of time.
Right.
And even things like interviews where I care, when I'm interviewing someone, I feel like they should be able to ask me as many questions as I ask them and get to know.
There you go.
That's awesome. A UPS truck came this way and a school bus went that
way. Can I share something that I think has helped us?
Are you going to edit this out?
We can, yeah, they'll edit it out.
All right.
I mean,
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, dude, don't worry about it. It's a very casual conversation here. So one thing that I did, which I'm very like proud of being this clever, did I tell you this? I made a series of 11 5-minute videos because we never hired anybody. And I was like, we're going to hire 40 people in the next 6 weeks. So I made 11 5-minute videos about literally every part of why you would work here. Here's our attitude about work-life balance. Here's our attitude about remote work. Here's our attitude, just the whole, like, here's what's going on today. Here's our mission. Here's who we sell to. Here's the competitive landscape. Here's why we're going to crush it. Here's the path to 100 million, and like, I'll send it to you. Like my energy was really high. I was very amped up on this opportunity. And like for instance, the VP sales we got, he's like, I made the mistake. So like we'd get a bite from the recruiter and then she would send this link that she'd send something that said, here's a 5-minute video from Adam. Like just talking about, but it was 11 5-minute videos. So like the right person watches me talk about this for an hour. The best person watches all this other content I'm creating or whatever. And they just are like our VP sales was like, I made the mistake of watching those videos when I was on vacation in Mexico. I didn't sleep that night. Like right then I decided I had to work for you guys. So like in everybody, like I do this thing in the beginning where I'm like, and we're live. And it just start rambling or whatever. And like, they see the background because it's the same one. And like everybody I talk to like does that to me or whatever. So it's really, I'm like fascinated with this, like using video in a smart way to like do the job of like, because like I was just like, how could anyone possibly understand the complexity of why they should join us through 2 interviews, which is all we have time to do, right? Like,
no, it's really look. I think it says a lot about you that you're saying. It's I think similar to what I was trying to express. It's not hiring is a 2-way street.
Totally.
It's not just, hey, do you have the qualifications? Do we like you? It's the if we find the right candidates, how do we convince them that this is the right place for them? And you're putting the time into that, the effort. So like you said, it's not about that your time is too valuable to spend with a good candidate. It's that even if you spend time with a good candidate,
right.
They're not going to get it.
How are they going to know? Like even in an hour, you don't understand what is going on here, right? Like,
Yeah,
like
no,
in your
I
company
think
too,
that,
it's like, data-driven direct. It's like, dude, it's a very complex landscape that you're navigating, right? Like, there's
look,
some
we
serious questions that people have about it.
oh yeah, look, I mean, a perfect example. To just today, I got brought into a second meeting, part second, part first meeting with one of our account executives who was prospecting and pitched a mid-sized digital native e-commerce brand, probably one you work with, and they got really excited, and their big initiative this year is that they're going to be a flagship, kind of kiosk at one of the big omni-channel retailers, and rolling out in 1,000 stores or something like that. And so they started realizing with some of the targeting capability and geofencing of direct mail that they could be bringing in some of their data, some of the retailers' data, and this could be a real partnership. So they set up a follow-up call today with the direct mail team, the marketing team at this omni-channel retailer, the partnership marketing team, and them and us. And it was like they literally everything they told us that they need and that they envision. It was like they went to our website and saw everything that we did, and then like
Right.
were like teasing us almost.
Totally.
It was just like a love fest. But like we burned an hour like that, and we didn't even get to talk about our capabilities. It was just an hour of discovery on them and them talking and sharing and us smiling and validating their needs and pain points. And you get to the end of this is like the second hour already, and we're just starting the sales cycle.
Right.
And you think about like how are we going to get through all this? We got to get through like a demo and bring it to life, and then and talk about deep campaign structures and integration, and this is a complex three-headed monster. But it's a journey, and that's
Totally.
on the opposite spectrum. You got to set limits on the opposite spectrum. We were just talking to another. I do these. Part of how I do time management, instead of doing one-on-ones with all of our salespeople, I do usually 2 to 3-on-1s. And because I figure if we're in a group of 4, collectively we're going to have much better ideas than me just trying to answer all of their challenges. But one of the salespeople brought in a challenge of getting stuck in this one deal, and what came out of it is that they're pitching a decision maker who's now just trying to negotiate on price. But that decision maker came in mid-sales cycle after we did discovery, after we did capabilities presentation, after we did the demo. They don't even know what we do. They just know we're a direct mail provider.
Yeah, just like banging you down, like
Yeah,
for the sport of it, right? Like
totally.
Yeah.
So the win was like, hey, he's not sold. Let's do discovery with him. Let's see what his pain points are. Now we're in the room with the decision maker.
Totally.
You got to go back through probably 2 to 3 more meetings. That's just how it works.
Totally. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're focused below where you guys are focused. 7-day sales cycle, 30-minute demo, a couple follow-ups, boom.
I mean, you may have a more digestible.
Yeah, it's like the value proposition. It's very straightforward. It's like you put some scripts on, we give you some email addresses, we send out more abandoned carts through Klaviyo. You want to buy it? You'll make a lot of money. If you don't, quit in 60 days.
Yeah.
Done and done.
Look, it's a great pitch.
Yeah. So I just have these vivid memories of these, like, the liquid death stories. Can you just tell some of those? Because this was unbelievable. It's like it's so crazy to me that
I'm a total outsider on liquid death. Mike came in to science a couple months after I transitioned out to start Postie. So we were like ships passing in the night. I would have to do some research and get back to you. I can only speak from an outsider's perspective, and then, certainly I catch up high level with the founders that stuck around at science, but I don't have the same stories.
Even the outsider stories are bananas.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Right. So what was news to me? Because my relationship was with liquid death is I walked into Whole Foods and there was a pyramid of it, and I was like, "That's water. That's fucking genius." Like, you have like 1,000 water companies competing on purity, and then there's this one that says it's death in a can. I mean, it's just like, and then you started telling me that like pre-revenue or something, they brought Tony Hawk on board. They're like he's signing skate decks in blood. they're auctioning off vials of his blood. Like,
No, I mean, yeah. So that story, that's the one that like, okay. So I almost liken it to um, an episode of The Family Guy.
yeah,
I'm not going to say like I'm a huge TV guy, but there was a phase where like I was told you got to watch Family Guy, you got to watch Family Guy, got to watch Family
Right.
Guy, and finally I started watching it, and
amazing.
I
I love
wanted
the
to not
Family Guy,
laugh.
by the way. Yeah, no, it's incredible. Yeah,
Well, but the way they get you is like they hit you with a joke, and it's like kind of like it's like a 6.
yeah,
And then like later in the episode, they hit you with a similar joke, if not the same joke, and they get it to like a 7. And then they hit you over with it again, and it's like an 8. And then they get you with a 10, and finally you like,
right.
you lose it, and you're like, you win,
Yeah.
It's funny, you were
Yeah.
committed, it's amazing. And with that like Tony Hawk story again, brilliant marketing, commoditized product. Differentiator is really the marketing. Sure, it's the can, but it's really the marketing.
Right. Totally,
And,
1,000,000%. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like the Tony Hawk story is, hey, we're gonna get Tony Hawk as an influencer in our company, but instead of like paying him to do like a video skateboarding on some ramp and do it, cracking a can of water and drinking it or whatever, they get Tony Hawk to sign a contract in blood, to donate vials of his blood, which they mix with red dye, which they commission, whatever it was, 10 custom decks using that red blood infused red dye, and then they auction the decks off and the proceeds go to Tony Hawk's foundation.
yeah,
Like they're so deep.
yeah.
Even my dog appreciates it.
My dog loved the story.
I mean, that is so deep and so
incredible.
committed, and that's them. Like they're getting customers to get liquid death tattoos.
Yeah,
Like they made drinking water fun.
mm-hmm.
They made it's similar to Dollar Shave Club story. They just got people to want to be a part of a brand. And you look at all these categories that popped up, over the last like 10 years in D2C disruptive commerce, and the mattress industry. And sorry, we know the whole history, so it's not maybe as exciting told where things netted out, but I was really tight with the Casper mattress guys, and like that was a brand story. It was sure put a mattress in a box, but it was this founder story started as everybody talks about in the startup industry how like sleep isn't cool and like whoever gets the least amount of sleep, and they realize like that's crazy. Like let's be well rested and let's go to work and be really productive all day, and like that's the way that you slay dragons and you do disproportionately big things. And I remember their launch, and they launched and oversold, and so they looked and they were going to invest in customer service, and they started shipping customers that they couldn't fulfill mattresses on for weeks, air mattresses with apology notes. And the customer satisfaction, and NPS scores went through the roof, and the difference between that and like the other mattress companies that like found some hook and threw a mattress in a box and like jammed Facebook ads and landing page optimization.
Right.
You got people to care about it. Like they used to have videos of like their delivery people on like bikes in New York with baskets like delivering mattresses.
Right. It's okay. We like dogs. That's awesome. So like, did like seeing Dollar Shave Club play out firsthand, did that carry over to Postie in any way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, certainly learning how to run fast growth businesses through an absolute juggernaut did. Seeing the confidence that Mike Dubin had, I've heard that story over and over again. Didn't really understand until later in my career. Like, investors recommending like hire people smarter than you. Smart. Make sure that you're the dumbest one in the room. And it sounded cliche, but Mike did an unbelievable job putting together just a killer executive team. Yeah. And that was a lesson. Like, there's unquestionably I needed to be in the weeds with people way smarter than me in their domains and make me stronger. We did things a little differently. Dollar Shave Club needed lots of capital to capitalize on what they did, and once you get on the hamster wheel of venture, it's a scary place. And we're all seeing that now in early 2023, as there's been a venture market pullback, dictated on a contraction in public markets and what terminal values look like, and so for me, I think it was a reminder that you got to focus on business model. You can't rely on venture. I don't want to be in a position where I'm stressed out of my mind about am I getting the next round of funding, regardless of the quality of the business. It's more about building a quality business where the unit economics work, and then if it makes sense to raise capital, you raise capital. That was a story I learned watching even the most successful D2C business that had a great outcome kind of deal with as they went from pre-seed, seed, Series A, B, C, D, etc.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are a million other stories, but they just kind of become.
Did you raise venture or you bootstrapped this?
We did a seed round. We raised a $3.5 million round back in 2017, and then have just operated it at break even or better. When we're profitable, we invest that profit into the following year for growth. And we've been fortunate. It's limited some of the risk profile that we've been able to infuse into the business, but this has proven to be a business that doesn't require the same level of risk profile that maybe like going after Gillette requires.
And then direct mail as a channel. Like what's your, I mean, you're in the middle of it. You have to talk your book to some extent, but like what, do you feel like it's underappreciated? Like why direct mail rather than push or like, SMS or something like that?
Well, I don't think it's either. Like I would never be one to say, don't run email, don't run SMS, don't run push. Like you should do it all. Like, and in different businesses.
Yeah, but I guess how did you find yourself being?
Why did I go into direct mail?
Data-driven company?
So the reason we got to direct mail was it was just really organically. So if you rewind to 2016 or so, that was like peak Facebook in many regards. They had hit their plateau in supply. There weren't any more impressions being opened up. Everybody in the world was fighting to move away from traditional, and had spent the past couple of years reallocating budgets into cracking Facebook. 85 cents on every dollar of digital media was going into the pockets of Facebook and Google. 40 cents on every dollar of venture was indirectly making its way into Facebook's pocket. I mean, these were juggernauts, and many businesses, both traditional and digital native, were sitting in a world where they had a singular demonstrative fail point in Facebook. If Facebook didn't behave, if the algorithm changed, if Facebook decided they were going to charge you differently, your business fell apart. And so for us, we fell in love with the quantitative addressable, attributes of, social advertising, and we wanted to find other channels that we could apply it to. And certainly like email, SMS, those are CRM channels, and those were already, there was no shortage of tools. Those were fine. Like, could always be better, but we didn't have a problem, with executing, those channels. But we needed more growth, top of funnel, how we activate our first party data, and in digital where we went first, like there just wasn't anything. Right, like TikTok didn't exist; it was Byte Dance or Dance Byte or whatever it was called. Snap existed, but there were no ad platform. Like there just wasn't anything big and scalable. And so we went back offline, and in offline, it was a reminder that all the smartest minds in digital marketing back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, all came from direct mail because it's a quantitative channel. And at that point, we got excited about the channel and just tried to execute it ourselves. And the difference between SMS, email, push was that there were technologically advanced ways to do sophisticated things. Indirect mail is like picking up the phone and calling a print broker.
Right.
And saying, like, we want to buy a bunch of postcards. And that wasn't going to fly for folks like us. And so that just became the opportunity, like, hey, if there was a tool that looked like the Trade Desk, but for direct mail, or Google Ads, but for direct mail, GDN, whatever, like, would we be excited about the channel? And I think
Yeah.
the answer for us was yes, unquestionably. So that's how we ended up there. I'm gonna let the dog out. So
Yeah. Sure.
Otherwise, I'm gonna go nutty. All right. If you're not editing, I'm back.
Yeah, no, so, any interesting trends from where you sit for like a Shopify Plus type vendor, so just below mid-market, like that they should be sort of paying attention to as it pertains to direct mail?
Oh, yeah, as it pertains to direct mail, for sure. Look, there's a time to invest in new channels, and that time, look, there's still a world where you can do a lot with a little on Facebook and search, and certainly email. And I highly encourage and recommend that you start up. Like those are great channels to learn, even if they can't be profitable for you for whatever reason. Your addressable market just isn't engaging on Instagram or Facebook. You can still learn and iterate rapidly, but you're going to hit a ceiling. And that ceiling may come at 10 million ARR, it might come at 25 million ARR, it might come at 50 million ARR. It's important to I think, as quickly as possible, think not just about where business being built on Shopify on the backs of Facebook. I think it's really important to think we're a brand that is bringing this product to market because we had a passion, there's a founder story, there was a pain point, there was a gap in the market, it's a quality story, whatever that specific story is. And then you need to use that early data that you're capturing on the light channels to understand, is your hypothesis on who your addressable market is accurate? And if it is, you need to think about what are the ways that you can engage those prospects and consumers with your organic, authentic message, optimized for media, because it's just the only way to find efficiency. And direct mail is a really powerful way to activate those same audiences that you're reaching through your CRM, through digital channels, or through your demand gen channels in a more weighty way that makes your brand, it makes your brand stand out. It's just weightier than another Instagram newsfeed ad. So the trend is really recognizing that you can leverage data just as effectively, just as successfully through direct mail as you can on any of your digital quant channels, and just not be afraid of it. I mean, that's how
Love that.
How I would think about it.
What's the future of Postie?
We get asked all the time, knowing that we started in digital and that we made our way into kind of recreating the way the world engages with direct mail, are we going to move away from direct mail? We, big part of what we do is our big data science structure and platform and machine learning engine, and the models that we build in a more complicated, more expensive media channel like direct mail are crushing it. We've advertisers are saying, hey, why can't I run your models to help me with my digital CRM, or to go acquire customers on Facebook, or a programmatic platform. And we think about it from time to time, but direct mail is a $50 billion space in the U.S. And we've captured very little of it. The vast majority of it is still done very clunky. I think it has a lot of advertisers that are still thinking like, I wish I didn't have to do direct mail. I wish I could do all digital. And just we think that's sad. That makes us sad because it's a great channel when you rethink the way that you execute it and incorporate it, integrate it with the rest of your marketing stack. It totally removes all of those friction points that doing direct mail traditionally does. So I think we got a long road ahead of us. Just continuous, profitizing direct mail, even to those people that those brands that are heavily reliant on it. Just helping them understand that there is a way to do it in 2023, that it looks very different and that it achieves very different goals.
Totally. Last question. If you weren't doing direct mail, what would be and you were like a Shopify Plus brand, what is the first thing that you would do? What is the first campaign? Like, Is it like take your so-and-so and send them this and that? Or like what comes to mind?
That's a great question, and I've been through that so many times. But it's been 6 years since I was spinning up a D2C brand. Over 6 years. Look, the playbook that I always run, it's get branded search going, get Facebook, and get content marketing going.
Yeah.
And you certainly want to leverage, if you have a story that's resonating, you invest heavily into media and social. If it's not resonating, you're not telling the right story, or you're missing product market fit. Even if you're acquiring customers through your paid channels, you need both those things working together, right? It's like Dollar Shave Club launching a video that drove more organic traffic than they could possibly have bought. Very few brands are going to have that luxury, but if you can't get placement in press, if you can't get people, earn media and people talking about, what you're doing, yes, you can still buy your way into some product market fit, but it's going to be more expensive. So I think you gotta get that story right. You gotta be, and it's just even building a quality company, hiring people, the way that you're talking in your 5-minute videos about, why someone would want to work, at your company. It's like that translates through your marketing, your employee satisfaction, the creativity that your team is putting out there. So I think you get the story right, you prove it out in some earned media and PR, and at the same time you leverage kind of the ability to test and optimize that message through social and promoted posts, content channels that give you digital content channels that you can dynamically spin up and down. That's where I would start for sure.
Boom. Rock and roll, dude. Well, where can people find you, Mr. Fink, if they want to come learn about Postie or you?
Yeah, so Postie, come to our site. We work hard on publishing content, case studies, and all sorts of data. It's postie.com, postie.com. And the easiest way to reach me is LinkedIn, LinkedIn Messenger. It's easy for me to see who you are and what your angle is, and you can see my background and drop me a note.
Dave, thank you. This has been awesome. I really appreciate it, man.